The rain had barely started when the first cruel laugh echoed across the empty parking lot, but it was loud enough, sharp enough, to make the elderly woman flinch. She couldn't hear it, not truly, not the way others could. All she felt was the vibration of the cruelty, the shudder in their voices, the way their phones angled at her trembling hands as she tried to sign, trying desperately to ask them to stop. But they didn't. They pressed record. They zoomed in. They mocked her tears. And in that moment, under the flickering neon lights of the old roadside diner, humanity looked like it had abandoned her completely. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for the vulnerable, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so more stories like this can reach good-hearted people like you. Her name was Helen, a 72-year-old widow who had lost her hearing decades earlier but never a gentle way of loving people. She went to the diner every Thursday, not for food but for memory. She and her late husband had shared countless breakfasts there while he'd spoken to her through clumsy but heartfelt signs. Today was supposed to be simple, a warm tea, a quiet seat, a chance to feel close to him again. But as she stepped outside, struggling with her old umbrella, the group of teenagers spotted her. 3 boys, 2 girls, drenched in arrogance and fueled by the cruelty that comes easily when no one stops you. They waved their hands in exaggerated mock sign language, laughing as she tried to tell them she couldn't hear. Someone shoved her shoulder lightly. Someone else thrust a phone in her face. And the oldest boy leaned in with a smirk that made her knees weak, not from fear, but from disbelief that people could be this unkind. Helen dropped her purse. Coins spilled. Her medication rolled into a puddle. Her eyes filled, not because she was scared, but because she felt something snap inside her, something delicate, something years of loneliness had already worn thin. She didn't scream, she couldn't. She only bowed her head, signing quietly to herself, wishing her husband were still here to take her hand and guide her away. But the universe has a strange way of sending help at the exact moment hope begins to fade. Just beyond the curve of the road, an unmistakable rumble broke through the rain, the deep, chest-shaking growl of motorcycles. 1, then 2, then a dozen. Headlights cut through the mist like comet tails, and the thunder of engines rolled closer until even the bullies paused, glancing up with irritation that quickly twisted into unease. The bikes pulled into the diner lot in a perfect, practiced formation, 12 massive machines, each ridden by members of a well-known local biker club called the Guardians of Iron. They weren't thugs or criminals, they were veterans, mechanics, fathers, daughters, people who believed in protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. At the front was their president, Hawk, a broad-shouldered man in his 50s with streaks of silver in his beard and a stare sharp enough to slice through lies. He killed his engine first. The others followed, leaving a heavy, commanding silence in the air. Hawk took in the scene, phones pointed at an elderly woman crying, coins scattered in the rain, and teenagers shifting nervously as if they had suddenly realized they were not as brave as they pretended to be. Helen didn't see them at first. She was wiping her cheeks, her breath shaking, her hands fluttering helplessly in the air. But when Hawk approached slowly, hands open, gentle, she felt the vibration of footsteps. She looked up, startled, and he signed to her using slow, careful motion. "Are you okay?" Her eyes widened. Someone knew her language. Someone saw her, and that was enough for her chin to tremble and her heart to finally let go. She signed shakily, explaining the bullying, the filming, the taunts. Hawk's jaw tightened. Behind him, the other bikers shifted, their leather jackets glistening with rain, their faces going hard with anger, not the explosive, reckless kind, but the kind that burns slow and steady. Fueled by justice, the teenagers tried to slip away, but the bikers surrounded them, not touching, not threatening, but forming a human wall that made escape impossible. Hawk didn't yell. He didn't need to. He simply asked them, in a voice low enough to feel like a growl, why they thought hurting an old woman was entertaining. The tallest boy opened his mouth but nothing came out. Another lowered her phone, suddenly ashamed. The rain kept falling, punctuating every second of their silence. One of the bikers, a mother of 2 named Raven, stepped forward and asked to see the videos. The teens hesitated, but Hawk reminded them gently that the police were only 10 minutes away if they preferred that route. That was enough. One by one, they handed over their phones. Raven deleted the recordings, then looked the teens in the eyes as she spoke. "You don't get to undo what you did," she said quietly, "but you can learn from it, starting right now." And with that, the bikers made the teenagers pick up every coin, every pill bottle, every soaked item from the ground. Not as punishment, but as correction, as a reminder of the humanity they'd momentarily forgotten. Helen watched with trembling hands pressed to her chest, overwhelmed by the sudden shift in the world around her. The same space where she had felt utterly alone was now filled with people who stood for her, who saw her worth without needing to hear a single word. The bikers didn't leave her after that. They escorted her inside, ordered her tea, sat with her, listened to her stories through patient sign language and warm smiles. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a silent ghost passing through the world. She felt protected, valued, loved. As the evening ended and the rain eased, Hawk promised her they would check on her every Thursday. And they did. Every single week. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can hear stories of courage and compassion like this one. Before you go, tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you witnessed someone bullying a defenseless person?